Yes, a blessed and pleasant good night to everyone locked into Hope 103.1 FM on another beautiful Tuesday evening here in the beautiful Spice Isle of Grenada. And guys, I want to say welcome to you to program tonight, Hope for Men, Men Simply Encouraging Men. And if you were present last week on our program, you would know that we ventured down I wouldn't say a dangerous course, but nonetheless a brave course. That's the best way to add it, to say it. All right, a great course where we venture to answer some questions from women. So tonight we are going to continue with this discussion. The panelist remains the same. My brother Trevor is here. It's just that he is not here. Hoping that you'll be able to stay with us tonight. Bro, good night. Let me see how you're singing on that side, eh?
Good night, good night. You heard me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. He's in a
No background noise.
well, little things, nothing to to distract the program.
Okay,
All
okay.
right. Yeah, nothing too bad. We could walk around that. You just do what I said to you earlier, and my brother Roger is on the inside, and my brother Bishop Chester Leon is here with us again. So
Good
is are
night.
we
Good
in
night.
for a treat tonight again? You know.
Hey, blessings.
So good night to your brothers.
Good night.
All right, brother
Good
Otter will be
night.
joining us in a little bit. So until he comes, we would want to continue that conversation. So tonight I'll ask my brother Roger to just open in a word of prayer for us tonight, and we're gonna take it from there.
Yes, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, dear Lord.
Yes, Lord.
We thank you, dear Lord, that we can gather here again. We thank you for your mercies, dear Lord. We thank you for your faithfulness. We thank you for providing, dear Lord. You are truly our Jehovah Jireh. Thank you for the many blessings that you bestow on us. Thank you for the little things, dear Lord. We are so thankful. Heavenly Father, we commit this evening's program in your hand. May be fruitful. Discussions are really engaging, dear Lord, so that everything may be glorified in your name.
Amen.
Bless this evening session. Bless everyone in a special way. This we ask in your mighty name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, um, we'll do things a little bit different tonight. All right. So what are we gonna venture to do is we have quite a bit of questions we didn't answer last week. We only get around to about 3 questions or so. So tonight, what we're gonna do is
Yeah,
I'm gonna
probably
designate.
100 more added on.
Now I refuse to send that out for any further addition. You know, because I felt like if we take some more, we won't be able to finish. But as I said, I'm looking forward to is um, taking some questions from men too. You know, we might probably need to get two women on the panel to answer these questions. Nonetheless, so what I'll do tonight, when Brother Otter joins us, also, I wouldn't let everyone answer the question tonight. So we'll share the questions tonight, so we could move on a little bit. I know some men might want to say, I want to touch that, I want a little piece of that question, but we'll try our best to see how we can manage, so we can go through, you know, tonight. So, you guys are ready for the first question? Yeah. So,
Yes.
all right.
Get it.
So, let's wait for the first answer so I could designate it to the first man that actually says yes. Bishop was so great, brave tonight to say yes, he's ready. Yeah. Before I came, Roger, I said I put it in alphabetical order, So I was gonna start with Otter, and then I'm gonna go to, Chester, and we're gonna go down the line. But he in the spirit, I can tell. All right, so Bishop, so you and Trevor are gonna answer that first question, and then me and Raja we're gonna consider the other one. But if you find you
Okay.
have something that you can contribute without repeating what we say, then that's how we're gonna do it. So we could try to make it work. All right. So,
Understood.
all right. So here's the first question we have here. All right. I think I want to put them questions on the screen like I did last week. Let me see how I could get them over here, because it'd be nice so you could read it too and ponder on it. Right, cool. All right. So this one here says, how does a wife respond to a husband who does not satisfy her sexual needs? He admits he knows he doesn't, but he has he has not tried anything. She asks him about oral sex and different things, and he will not respond. Even when she initiates, he refuses. Bishop, that's a heavy one there for you, boy.
Yeah, the post marital counseling is such a deep thing because if you do not screen certain things and you do not initiate certain questions and you don't have even a questionnaire, it is sometimes too late to even ask a question like that when it's already like a foregone, you know, because during the premarital counseling, that's the time you really have to get in. The counselor, the counselee, they have to be able to trust each other to a point where all these things are meted out. Are you having an echo from me, or is it just
Sorry, that was my line. I just realized. Sorry about that.
okay? All right,
Mhm.
yeah. So in the premarital, you have to deal with sex as an issue, not just as a questionnaire per se. I shouldn't even say a questionnaire, but it has to be dealt with in such a way where you are very open and you are very knowledgeable, and certain things that are asked and the response will tell. Because you find now we're living in a time where people are exposed to so many things on the internet, and there are some questions that would be asked concerning what has your mother told you about men? What has your father told you about women? What has your father told you about women? What has your mother told you about women? And sometimes when these questions are asked, you find that there is no response because these questions always sometimes come up blank. So you have to engage couples. Couples have to be engaged on sex because it is a vital part, and then it is a part that will cause breakdown when it comes to uh, how it should be administered and how it should be done, especially in the times that we live in, you know.
All right. So that's all you have to say on that aspect. You're more or less saying that these issues should be talked about long before they matter.
Long before, because it always causes a breakdown. It
Mm,
always causes a problem in the marriage when the expectation is there and then the knowledge is not there.
right.
And one partner might have high expectations because of the type of information and exposure. It is such a times that we live in where you really have to prepare for marriage at least a year in advance, because there are so many people coming and saying, next month I want to get married, pastor, I want to get married next 2 months.
Yeah.
But the really and truly it should be at least 12 or even 18 months preparation,
Hmm.
because there are so many things that need to be said, and so many things that need to be presented before the couples even get to the altar, because
Right.
we have a lot of altar stormers. And then when you're finished with that wedding and the honeymoon, the post-marital, many people seldomly they want to show up for post-marital until real serious problems begin to emerge. So I believe when it comes to the bedroom, when it comes to the difference between romance and sex expectation, these things must be unpacked in a pre-marital setting, whereby it takes you at least, if you're doing a year counseling,
Hmm.
1 month should be spent on really dealing with sex and sexuality because of the times we live in. and because of what we see being packaged from the media.
That's right.
A lot of defense. We have to make it a defense issue, defending the marriage, defending the bedroom, understanding the challenges. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And even as we saw last week, most of the issues that are on the questionnaire, you're looking at the post. Is a post marital issue rising up, which should have been really addressed and understood in a premarital setting. So you're seeing that there are a lot of things that were not dealt with in depth, and now surfacing as the marriage progresses.
All right. Trevor, go ahead now.
I think Trevor is muted.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll meet you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think Bishop is absolutely correct. It's clear that there are this question is one that um, was never addressed in counseling, and therefore, if the church does not provide it, you leave people to go to other sources, and therein lies the challenge of what I would say we trying to be all things to all people as leaders when there are other believers who have the skills and the resources in the kingdom, in the body of Christ, to deal with certain matters. Right? Now, some people use 1 Corinthians 7 verse 14 as as a basis for that argument that we hear in the question, which says that a wife does not have the right over her own body, but a husband does. In the same way, a husband does not have the right over his own body, but his wife does. But and then it goes on to say that you should not deprive each other except for prayer, and except to devote yourselves to prayer, etc. But that has to be taken in context, because not everything that the world recommends, right, for in a marriage is acceptable, I believe, in the kingdom, and there are lines that has to be drawn. However, the question is pointing, and back to what Bishop is saying, there is need for counseling, marital counseling there, and in the confidentiality of that is where this matter has to be addressed. All right, so like Bishop, I would say that that's a matter that has to go back to counseling, where you and your spouse are free to discuss a matter like that with somebody who could give you the right guidance, but that question is a question of reality, right? It's not a question of abstract something that you say, what if? This is a question of reality, and it has to be addressed in that manner. I would say too long we've been like the ostrich, putting our head in the sand, and our whole body is exposed. This is a time for us to face reality and say, hey, there's an explosion of knowledge, an explosion of information, and the church has to rise to the occasion and go back to the standards of the word and say these are the guides that has been laid down for us to function within our lives holistically.
So that's you there.
Yeah.
I know I just want to like a piece on it, I just take a minute and address it.
Yeah, well, So I heard Brother Trevor, I heard Bishop on the the counseling and so on. You can also have a situation where counseling and relevant and appropriate counseling was administered, um, and then post marriage, partners or one of the partners, husband or wife, can be lured into the vials of this earth. And the enemy is very clever. He learns from our mistakes and he'll hit us hard where we are very vulnerable. And I remember mentioning in an earlier program that we had, different subject matter, that where we place a lot of emphasis is where we want to get hard. So if our sexual desires or all matters of sex is just seem to be what is dominant in our relationship, then this will our greatest strength could be our ultimate weakness. Naturally, could be a vulnerability, and so people read up stuff and they learn stuff. Brother Trevor talk about how does the church speak to the subject that we treat with taboo. We don't. What is acceptable and what is not. And so you could have one partner bringing in some vials that the other partner is very uncomfortable with, given the agreed expectations they would have had from the start already. So that I see that obviously can be an issue. But at the same time, when a man doesn't seem to be satisfying, and the ego men have, I think it's on the onus of the wife to hold his hand through the process too as well. Um, you know, men are eager to learn in private. So sometimes you have to guide us.
Roger, one of the things I would probably add with this here is that you said the woman says even when she initiate, he refuses. He's not interested in that. So again, it goes back to a matter of counsel because sometimes these are things you talk about. Maybe the man has some trauma, probably experienced something, probably he saw something, probably you know there must be a reason for resistance. If there isn't, what I would say, a man being inquisitive into these types of things, then it may be a reason for his resistance. Probably he was taught, that these things are not what it is. Maybe he grew up very tame. Maybe he grew up in an environment. A lot of things can cause that. So post counseling will help you to figure it out because really and truly you don't know it all. So for such a woman, I would want to advise that you're sick. You and your husband seek a counselor's advice.
Yeah, jointly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
simple. hmm All right, let me take the next one right here now, so Raja. I will hit this one and then you will come up on it thereafter. Yeah, share it, boy. Where did it go? Oh wow. All right, so um, this next question here from this lady, she's saying that communication plays an important part in any relationship. That's a statement. Therefore, my question is, what will it take for a man to open up freely when he have conversation with his wife without without the wife having to ask questions upon questions to get him to communicate? So so the wife, she's saying, that's an important part. They call communication one of the pillars that builds a strong relationship. And obviously, if you ain't communicating, then you can't grow and you can't become close if you're not sharing your heart. But this woman is saying that she's interested in having these conversations, but somehow, she have to ask a whole bundle of questions to get him to speak. Well, what I would say about this, right, is that first of all, you have to ask yourself again, how are you really communicating? Because some women, the way that they they would try to get a man to speak, it may be a trigger for the man again, because they probably not amicable, amiable. They're not soft, and the Bible tells us a soft answer, you understand, turns away wrath. So they're not coming in a way. The timing they're choosing might be bad to get there. They want to communicate. Maybe the man want to sleep. Maybe the man tired. I'm not making an excuse for the men, because rightfully the man should, make time to communicate with his wife so that his relationship can bloom. But at the same time, some women, the way that they speak. So I want to ask this woman, how are you communicating with your husband? Right? Are you coming like a gremlin? Because none of us here want to speak to a woman who coming at us with a gremlin. If you're coming in some kind of angry tone, some kind of demanding tone, how are you? Are you communicating the way that God tells us we should communicate? Are you kind? Are you soft and gentle? Are you loving in your words? Are you pointing fingers at the man when you're trying to communicate? Is it he wrong all the time, everything you're saying? Is your communication about us, or is it about you? You understand? So sometimes you come in and it's like, I feel this, that. And instantly when you say I, the man feels as though he wrong already. Since you say I, the man already realized, well, you talking for yourself. So the question is, how are you communicating? If you talk to a child hard, the child will automatically sink and hide, and you know their feeling get hurt. What if that man had experienced so much of that while he was growing up, that when you start to do the same thing to him now, it's like you're reminding him of his past. So guess what? His response becomes the same thing, because now he's dealing with a memory, a trigger that caused him, a trigger that caused him to go back to that same place, unless he fully understands that there's no threat. So you have to clear the air, figure out what is the reason. And you can't do that by just saying he doesn't want to talk to me, you know. So I'm being real and very practical here. You can't talk to a man any kind of how. Last week we talked about that. The number one thing that man desire from a woman is respect. And if you want to disrespect a man in the way you're communicating with him, well, I think you lose already. You understand? So I'll leave that here, Roger. You could take a bite at it.
So you spoke to the how, Sabi, and then there's a when, and then there's a where, right? When do you speak to him? You know, for example, um, there are certain times I know that based on the conversation and based on time of the day, there's no point even trying to have a conversation with my wife. It just won't get anywhere, right? So same thing with men. At what point are you choosing? You ought to know your spouse very well, and be attentive so you know exactly when he's in the best place. Is it in the room? Is it outside in the yard on a stone under the mango tree? Is it while he's cutting the grass? When does he opens up best? That he's free to talk. And I have my wins. I think my wife knows that. What I am not good at on the flip side though is and I'm learning is understanding her wins. I mentioned to you some time back. Once I started talk, I talk good, but you have to know when, and then the frequency as well, right? How often do you have conversations around? Some people only come up with a conversation when they need to address a matter. There's no other conversation around, that are complementary, that are feel good conversations, right? So that when the hard one comes, it's it doesn't put too much pressure, right? And if you only get into hard conversations all the time, there would be some measure of reluctancy in opening up and so on. But what's all the good things? When something is done well, and then where do you do it? You know, like I mentioned earlier on, there are different places and so on that is comfort zones for people, and you want to be able to capitalize on those comfort zones so that there's open and free conversations. But naturally, they say that men are not detailed in their conversations. I heard that. So I don't know if it's because we only use half of our brains while the women use two sides, Bishop. I don't know. But men generally like to get to the point, um, while the ladies are very much detailed and so on. But at the same time, if you get men in a in a good mood where they can speak, those good moods like when they're in the barber shop or among their friends on the beach playing football, um, you may you may be as a woman very surprised to know how much men can really open up. So that's my 2 cents here for the.
All right. I heard a woman say, after times of intimacy, the man happy hormones has been released. So if you want to talk to him around anything is the right time. He's in a good place. It takes a lot to trip him off. You can get anything from him at that time. So I've heard the women say, I don't know how true it is. You understand? But that's what I heard. So check the time when the happy hormones are released. You know? So we will move on. We will move on. We'll move on here.
It's
So
important, Sabi, to
mhm.
really you see the communication
Yeah.
again, the affirmation. If you notice how Genesis puts the communication program in the cool of the day, even as Duncan was saying, there's a time, there's a time, there's a time for it. In Genesis, you see the cool of the day. In the New Testament, you see affirmation. You see God affirming the Son so that the Son will carry out the task. And then you see them on the Mount of Transfiguration. On that mountain, you don't hear what Elijah is telling Jesus. You don't hear what Moses is saying to him. So there are three levels of communication there. There's the peripheral. You see, there is the outer court, and there's the intimate. So when the question is asked concerning communication, that is how it's established. Sometimes the communication is done, it should have been an intimate, but it was done on the peripheral. And that breaks down even the response. Because when they killed one of the US presidents, back in those days, the men was saying one thing and the women were saying another thing. The women were saying, "Oh my gosh, those children," and the wife. That's how they're wired. They are wired for that. But the men were not talking about children. The men were not talking about the wife of the president. The men wanted to know, where's the ammunition? Where are the joint chiefs? Where is the response for this thing? So it all comes home to roost when the communication is set in that setting of atmosphere. Atmosphere plays a very important part in not just asking, but the response and the affirmation that is needed.
Mhm. Yeah, that comment here from my sister. She says both parties may have been socialized differently. As a result, communication can be an issue no matter how soft and gentle either party may be. A person's past experience can play a pivotal role in how he or she accept a statement or a question. So you get that. it goes back to and the past. The past life is kind of anyway. Let me not go there because we're gonna go off track. So we'll continue with the question. I'll leave it for what it is. All right. So this is the next question here, and Bishop, you're gonna take this one time. What would it look like to you to face a woman's vulnerability and challenges with the highest honor, yet celebrate her strengths while working towards your success? You know what?
Yeah, that's a very important question, because it deals with the your education and your desire to go higher, in whether it be tertiary level, whether it be there are some people that are heading to university in their 60s, and it may not have been something that they wanted to do at that age, but the encouragement, and sometimes even young couples, you see a struggle there, and all this, again, this is why counseling should take a year to prepare for all these eventualities, because how you begin is not how you're going to get to the middle, and then when you get to the middle, the end is not like how you planned it to be, even from the middle. So there are so many avenues right now for development and education, and there are so many things that are causing the competitiveness in relationships today. It is it is something that you have to really sit back and, especially for men, encourage them to keep going and keep pressing and keep dreaming and keep, you know, just taking life in strides, because the best, sometimes the best is yet to come, and we stop. As men, we stop, and then our partners go further, and then when they go further, it creates a whole uh, issue in the relationship. So I believe that there's so much that develops, there's so much that happens that could cause this to really create a destabilizing of the relationship.
All right, so Trevor, you have a shot at it. Hold on, I think you. All right.
Yeah, the question here brings the whole issue of equality in God to the fore. You know, that as a couple, you are one, but of course with your own distinct um, uh, qualities, giftings, etc., that God would have bestowed upon you for accomplishing purpose and destiny, right? And when couples are not in, a husband and wife are not in competition, but we see it in our society, you know, where it's suddenly that appears as though they're competing. Who could drive the latest car? Who could do this? Who could, you understand? Who could get to the top fastest, etc. And once that is happening, you're gonna run up against a wall. And the tragedy is when you crash, you really do need someone to be there to pick you up, to strengthen you, to resuscitate you, etc. But so many times, if you're going to go that way in a selfish manner, you're going to be left standing alone and with a lot of regrets, a lot of looking back and say, if I had known. So that's why marriage, I understand when you go back to Genesis, you say two shall become one. Your success is my success. Just as how if you fail, both of us pays the price. There's no room for selfishness. So if you want to, whatever you set your heart on to achieve, that is good. I am there cheering you on, and the children are there cheering you on. I say that because I've seen, I've seen, and I've known couples where one may go back to school to get a degree, etc., and it has created serious havoc in the family, which have led to divorces. Because not understanding what is the price you have to pay to achieve that can oftentimes bring serious conflict in the home. You have to be up all hour in the night studying. You have to be in classes, etc., and the children are neglected. You are working, the husband is working, and when he comes home, you understand, he has a thing and still take care of the kids, put them to bed while you studying, etc. And that may be for 2 3 years. It takes a toll. And if you all know that it wasn't properly discussed and looked at ways how you always support each other, it could lead to serious conflict and disagreement. And then of course pointing finger, you're not supporting me, you're not there for me, etc., etc. But all of these, it takes mental, emotional, and other resources to get to where you're going, and that's why it has to be done in collaboration, uh, in unity, and a celebrating of each other. The other side of the coin is where you achieve and then now it's my turn and you're not there. You understand? That also could lead to conflicts, to disagreements, etc. So it has to be what I would call unbiased, selfless. That's where the selflessness of marriage and comes in, or where you have to be selfless. So nothing's wrong in and as Bishop said, in going and seeking to achieve, but it has to be done with understanding that hey, it's going to cost us, but we have to be prepared to walk the road together in unity, and at the end, all of us will celebrate.
All
Thank
right. That's good. That's good. My friend says she's really she applaud the conversation, so she say, please do it again. She says send the invite to get people to attend. This is of paramount importance. While it will come again, brothers get the brothers and sisters together. So she's loving the conversation. There's a comment on one of the other platforms. Yes. So, Raja, you ready, boy? We have our next one on the table here.
But just before I take the next one, I just wanted to say that our God is a God of order,
Right.
structure, and He expects us to have good order and structure within our own homes. We have said in the past how important it is for a family to have a vision. We even agreed that when the question was asked, what is it a man is looking for in a woman, and we said,
Mm-hmm.
well, one to fulfill his purpose.
Yeah.
So if we have a vision that, look, this is what we want for this family,
you.
and given our knowledge and skills and competencies as how we're going to be resourceful, this is the bakery that is going to do it for us,
Mm-hmm.
and I am the one that is good at baking. Then we know that the investments around me would be around a lot of technical skills, being a better baker. But the wife might be the one that is good at managing the entire operation. So the investments around there would be just that. And then, as Brother Trevor say, we celebrate together. This a unified thing. It's not a selfish thing at all.
Yeah, that's true. And I love the fact that you mentioned what you said about the purpose. So, there we are assuming that these two individuals are in a relationship, and the relationship has a purpose. You know, this morning, my wife and I were talking, and this beautiful analogy came to me regarding purpose. As also Bishop and I and some other guys were talking about purpose again last week. But here's this: if you have a kettle in your house, be it an electric or just a regular one, a pot, the purpose of the kettle is not serving the kettle. It is serving the individual who is using it. So when the kettle boils the water, that had nothing to do with the kettle really. You understand what I'm saying? But you,
Fulfill.
as an individual, you want some hot water, and it
Mhm.
serves you. So if you're in marriage, you both have a purpose, right? But the problem in marriage is that some people are just too, in relationships also, is that some people are just too selfish. So they want the other person to serve it's like a one-way thing, but they're not serving nothing. They ain't serving the other person's purpose. So you're not helping the other person to fulfill or to get closer to why God created them and why you are in their lives. You understand? So oftentimes you had
And
a
God has a purpose. God has a purpose for each one of us. So
as a
even to start from there, you
Mhm.
know that each one of us requires some measure of attention and resources.
That's right. Because that woman who has that vulnerability issue and whatever challenges she has, that gentleman should know what these vulnerabilities and challenges are. And he need to understand his purpose in helping her. Despite thinking that he knows all, you're looking at a man that if he is not going to use his strengths in this situation to help his wife, and even if he can't, he can make suggestions to help his wife. Then what you have is more problems when the thing can work smoothly. But again, when you don't understand the purpose of the thing, you would use it the wrong way. So if you see a
Fulfillment.
man boil out water and he take it and he pour it on his head, what you expect? It's problem. You understand?
Fulfillment. The
Yeah,
fulfillment. You see, the
fulfillment.
purpose has to be fulfilled because I think it was Miles Monroe who said, the sneaker or the kettle does
Hmm.
not fulfill their purpose until you use it.
You use it. Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
the piano does
Mm-hmm.
not fulfill its purpose
Purpose
until they
to
play
be
it.
used it. That's
Yeah,
right.
please. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the fulfillment that becomes the challenge, the
Mhm.
fulfillment, because the instrument, the kettle, the piano is sitting there,
Sitting
Yeah.
there,
and you
Mm-hmm.
see it there, but it does not
do
come to,
anything.
yeah, accept. And it's not just to just put a finger on it, but
Yeah,
effectively bring
effectively,
all the bring
and
all the
that's
keys together.
Yeah.
and that's it. A lot of people misuse things and their own lives when they don't understand the purpose of it. So you
But this,
see,
yeah, that's
no, I
true.
was I was just saying. So you see, when you're going into a relationship, not that you'll get everything, but you should at least get something straight before you decide I want to enter into this relationship. And if you're in it and you see these issues popping up, they're nothing but opportunities for growth. It all depends on how you view the thing. A lot of people see it as, loving no more, you love the book more than me, you don't have no time for me, you know. You're not asking the right question, you're not communicating the correct way. Yet you let your feeling override reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't know how to keep that thing control your emotions, what is going on in your head. Because remember,
Mm-hmm.
the enemy is always suggesting things to you and I. So at that time, if you don't understand that what is happening, you become ignorant of the enemy's devices, and then you turn and start shooting at the person you should not be shooting at. You're committing murder to your own self, ideally. Because what do you expect? Tell me which army to see one side of the army of one part of the enemy or whoever it is firing shot and the other one just stand up there and just take it. They will defend themselves, or they might just run. Either way, you get the picture. But Roger, take that question there. Take that one, Roger. You got it. So this one is, what would it look like to
Mm-hmm.
you to face a woman's, no, sorry, let me put it up. Let me put it up. My bad. There. Yeah. So this one here, do you see it as deception to become what a woman needs, and then not to continue it after marriage as it was never who you were? For example, being romantic, affectionate, communicative, etc. So do you see that as deception, brother Roger? Is that deception? Before that, as a man, you're showing all interest. You're so romantic. You always want that candlelight dinner. You always want to rub in the back and pat in the shoulder. You know what I mean? You're talking
Yeah,
more than ever. You're so interested in this woman. And now
yeah.
you're married. After that is a different scenario. Why? The woman wonder if she make a mistake.
It it could be a measure of deception when one is not really truly authentic. So they didn't come the real deal. They had to present something that is different in order to catch you. It reminds me of some builders who would underprice a project just to get the job, and then when they do get the job, then it's problems. Um, as opposed to telling you straight up that this is the case. But how much of us, some people put themselves in that position too. You see the deception, you know it, but you're enjoying it, and it ain't gonna last, but you are it, right? But it could not be deception as well, and I'll speak from personal experience on this one, right? I think in my early stage of marriage, I really went overboard with a lot of things I was doing during my dating time, you know, and I could still go very much overboard. But what happened over time, my measure of responsibility and so on, and maturity has grown, where I realize, okay, this I could no longer do this. I start looking at the budget and a lot of other different things, right? Um, while the other partner could be thinking, oh well, why is he slowing up? I mean, in the case of my wife, um, I think it was more so that, look, not that you have to stop doing all those great things, because you can still do those great things without having to incur all these costs that it may have incurred, right? Or knowing to her at the time when I started, right? Because you see, when you define what really is love, or what is the expectation someone has of love, um, it will really help, so you know what that person is expecting of you. And then there are different mediums you can use. There is the expensive one, there is the low medium, there's the low tiered ones, and so on. By the end of the day, what will matter is the experience that you both had, even if it was just sitting under the tree with a washpan of mango socket, right? What came out of that experience, as opposed to going to a fancy restaurant, which has its place. I'm not saying that it doesn't, right? But it should never be a case. It should never be a case where I cannot afford to go to a fancy restaurant, so that I can't do nothing else, right? Because there is so much other things that can bring out um, those expectations that your wife have of you, you know. And it could be a hike, it could be going to the garden, it could be so many different things, right? So I know a lot of men who come deceptive, yes. I also know a lot of men who are just strictly looking at it from a cost benefit analysis, right? And I need to cut here, I need to do this here, I need to, you know. Um, but but I appreciate the stresses that it does bring to each other when those expectations, go aloof, because it suddenly stopped, or it got devalued to something else.
You said a lot. You said a lot, there, brother. You said a lot. What I would probably want to add with it is that, uh, yes, it can be deception. Yeah, for real. You see, some people who do whatever they have to get what they they want until they get it, and they feel like I got the prize now, so I paid the price to get the prize. I know I have it. I don't need to continue along that line because fishing bag. You check,
Yeah.
and man as well as women does that. It's not just a man thing alone. I know the woman asking question to the men, but there are women that would do the same thing to men. You understand? You ever heard old people saying, "I don't want to marry because when I marry, man, they just change. People just change after they get married." I don't know. I know they heard that before. They're living longer than me. You understand? And people just change after they married, man. And you could change for the better, and you could change for the worse. You know, and that's a reality. If you check yourself too, based on the time the man is trying to win that woman, based on the time in his life as a young boy, probably in his teenage age or early 20s as a young man, probably his level of maturity is really, is nowhere yet. So he would think, what they say young girls like roses, you know, diamonds, food, and he would do what he has to do to make that woman feel really special. Remember, he's after her heart. But who taught him that, brother, if you go and start this part, be prepared to continue because the woman may just see it as deception. You understand? So you don't want your good to be evil spoken of.
I think we need to make a strong statement there.
Yeah.
Because you see, no one human being could meet your ego need, your soul need, or your spiritual need. I think we
Hey,
need to agree on that statement.
Bishop,
No one human being could meet your ego need.
Bishop,
You shouldn't even get tired for that trip. You should be so um single and trusting God.
right,
Yeah, because I think when we understand that no one could meet that need, you know that God is the one who you have to really look to fulfill. And you shouldn't even get married until you are totally fulfilling God. I think we need to make that statement.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
Mm. Because
Something I
because
want
you
to
because
reply
you're
to
going
that.
to you're going into you're going into this expecting certain things, and that's
Yeah, you
how
can
it's about.
trust.
Yeah, you expect you feel love because you get these things, and if not, you understand, then you don't
Yeah.
feel love. You don't
Yeah.
feel appreciated. You don't feel as if you're wanted because in the first place, it wasn't built on what it's supposed to be. You didn't understand the purpose of everything again. Otta,
Yeah.
why you not, hold on, fellas, why Otta in the comments and not in the conversation? Because Otta's supposed to be in the conversation, but Otta in the comment section. Otta, check your email,
Because
brother.
Well,
Check your
you,
email.
well,
you can't you can't trust the flesh. You can't trust the flesh.
Right.
And that is what God that's why God didn't even tell Adam. He just gave him the two trees and said, don't. He know that he will eat. You can't trust the flesh, he's gonna let you down.
Mm,
And then here comes Cain, an unhealthy soul. An unhealthy soul is gonna murder the spirit.
mm,
So you see Abel crying out because anytime you have an unhealthy soul, it's going to kill the spirit, and then you can't trust the flesh. So you really have to know that the only defense you have is to put everything into God. He will definitely make you who you should be before
mm.
you could even cross that boundary to
Yeah.
find someone else. Because the two worlds coming together. And after a time, this small talk would
Yeah,
wear off.
it's off, yeah. Reality go hit in.
Yeah, the reality comes in
yeah.
and you get to
Yeah.
realize, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
guys, I think these are very deep question, right? Because on one side we see that there is the perception or the belief that somebody was faking it until they get it, right? But on the other side, it's also saying that, as you all are alluding to, that there was a lack of of maturity and even discerning. Um, but I also want to add that a lot of times too many believers do not understand that, and we have talked about it over and over, the Holy Spirit purpose, and that the enemy will fight to ensure that that purpose is opposed, is hindered. And if we take our eyes off purpose, why did God bring you to the two together? Is it only for romance and sweet talk and affection and all kind of thing?
Action.
There's
Yeah.
more to life than that.
Well,
And
brother.
that's why you need to expand your borders. There are other things a man maybe seeking, maybe wanting to pursue with him, right? And so you won't spend all of your married life in a bed. You understand? And we touch on that. You want to achieve things. You may want to start a business. You want to educate yourself. So the whole purpose has to be looked at. And I see here that there is this lady's she's looking for leadership. She's looking for the man to lead, but not every time the man is supposed to lead in affection or communication, etc. You could take the lead too, right? And then and stop the finger pointing, because when you're pointing fingers, of course, we see what finger pointing back at you, and finally, I want to say that and I think Richard and Duncan is correct. A lot of times we focus on the what the world portrays as glamorous and the in thing that is acceptable for as romantic, etc., etc. It's about 2 days ago we were talking in our home and we were saying, there too much of us believe that because you go to an expensive restaurant, the food is healthy. Far from it. Going to an expensive restaurant doesn't mean you're going to eat healthy food. You could do simple things in your home. You could bake your own pizza, make your own this and that, and sit down and have a great romantic dinner. You don't have to be in some expensive restaurant. And Duncan is on point with that. So there needs to be a whole recalibrating here, I would say, a reassessing of what is it you want, what is it you need to generate communication, to show affection, etc. You do it. Eventually, breakthrough will come. Thank
Well,
you.
it's what I would call a hard saying for many. It sounds easy, but you see, I think the important thing in this situation is just to start by simply communicating effectively, not just you see a lot in the past, a lot of people, and it depends on where you grew up. You see, you learn after patterns, things you see people doing. That's the way you would address things. In one community, you might have um, a man that everybody probably looking up to, and you're this young man there, and you see how he's handling his wife. When I say that, like how he talks to her, you understand, and you get this idea that that's the way you're supposed to. You know, you learn that, you pick that up some way. The next thing is that a lot of people, they in things for what they can get. It's a kind of reward system. So not necessarily for what they can give, but what they can get. You understand? And so you have to learn to measure the thing and decide, are you there to give only, or you want mutual? You want to be able to be given and getting. Some people only want to receive. When they don't get what they want, nothing in working. Continue. We'll give our
Yeah.
brother Otter this opportunity to take this next one as he come in late. You understand? Otter, a woman is asking, since men and women express emotions differently, how do men adapt to dealing with women expressing their emotions in their way.
That's a
Yeah, and
that's a
that's a million different ways, right?
oh Lord.
Tough one.
That's a tough one.
You come
Um,
inside.
but the Bible did say that you deal with your wife according to knowledge of
Mhm.
her.
Mhm.
So you have to be very wise in terms of how you deal with it. Um, some women are could be a little bit hot-headed, right? And they may express their disappointment, their anger, their joy, their sorrow in a way that might make you uncomfortable. I might even make you upset. The issue is that you have to remember that is a woman that you love. That is a woman that you have a relationship for a long time, and you have to address it in that way and not necessarily respond to the emotion that is being elicited. If you understand what I'm saying, a lot of times we just respond to what we get, and we sometimes try to top it by becoming even more angry or whatever. All right. You have to remain calm. You have to remain calm. And one of the things that when you remain calm, and they see your calmness, a lot of times that whole behavior drops. It becomes calm, and you could deal with the situation. Too often, because of the emotional thing, we just want them to either keep quiet or hush up or don't say this, or you cannot determine how somebody is going to respond to you. What you can determine and what you have authority over is how you respond, what kind of response that you return for the situation. All right. So that is my contribution. Sorry to be late, but I had a very important call dealing with, and it took longer than I expected.
Oh, your
We
excuse,
have
man.
we have to stop trying to win the argument.
Mm.
Or
I like that. I like that comment, Roger.
That's right.
You know,
That is correct.
yeah, and
I was
rather try winning over the person.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. A wise man once said, just tell them you're right.
Yeah,
That's
and
what,
and
that's
and
what
and I've started going by a mantra that works for me.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Sure, you want to
I,
tell the
I
secret?
can't speak to my wife, but it puts me in a better place, right? I
Mm-hmm.
try my best to take the negativities to prayer
Right.
and the positivities to her.
Mm.
I try. I feel at times, but I try.
But
Mm-hmm.
but that is wisdom right there.
Yeah,
That
I,
is
the
I,
wisdom right there.
whole
Yeah,
thing about it,
rest it before God. All the negativities.
the whole
that's
thing
right.
about it is empathizing.
That's
Empathizing
right.
is the key.
Empathy. Yeah.
Yeah, when counseling, when dealing with couples, the two parties have to exchange shoes. This is something I do. You have to wear your wife's shoes for on a catwalk, and the wife has to put on her husband's shoe on a catwalk, and you have to walk a little, just a few minutes in that shoe.
Bishop, not easy.
That though, I'm having some visuals here.
Yes, because you will never get it. You'll never get empathy except you walk in that shoe.
Walking it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, another
and
word.
it's no flat shoe. It's no flat shoe,
Yeah.
and it's
And
no it's
Feel
no
the squeeze, man.
slippers. It's no slippers of the man. A shoe that you have to lace up,
Right.
high heels, and you walk that shoe. Because if empathy and coping is not taught, it will never be caught at
Never.
any level.
mm,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
these things just come at you on a communicative level, on a day-to-day experience, and whenever you get the flashback
mm,
of what empathy really means, you have to model it to really know it. It's not
Yep. Yep.
something you could just talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to model empathy, or you would not even understand the issues that just face you. And sometimes it starts from a small little, just a little question being asked.
Simplest thing.
Simplest thing, man. And that whole,
Simplest thing.
yeah, just blows over, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I
it's
think
so real.
Arthur made a point of quoting the scripture there that the woman is a weaker vessel. And I had to ask, what does that mean? What does the word weaker means in this context?
The vessel. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know?
not the content, you know.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
The content,
Exactly.
the
Because we
content is
can have
the
some
most
strange
potent.
attitude
The
towards
content is the
women.
most deadliest, the deadliest part of the thing, but the vessel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if the vessel, for instance, if you're going to put wine in a wine skin, if that wine skin is not prepared,
Mm-hmm.
the vessel is going to pop.
Bust.
But
Yeah.
yes, yes.
It-
So that's
it-
why we have some strange attitudes towards that word weaker. And I think that's where we have to begin to amend and adjust our thinking. Because God made the word of God makes a very strange statement. He said his strength is made perfect in our weakness. Think
weakness,
about
yeah.
that. But we despise weakness in our culture. We look down on weakness. We trample on weakness. We want to abuse weakness. We want to push weakness out of our side, which is quite opposite in the marriage.
Hmm.
You know, so the real mind change we have. It takes
But the thing is, like Bishop talk about empathy, and another word you can look at is compassion. You understand? And when someone is showing compassion, it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with the other individual. And someone might be wrong, but not knowing that they're actually wrong. So that individual could be expressing themselves, but they're wrong, but they feel that they're right. You understand? And if both of you making noise, then you're getting nowhere. So if you could only just try to understand where the person is coming from and have a conversation. Again, these things we know is not for the weak. Because when a person feel like they are right, sometimes they come at you really hard. You understand? And it takes a lot from an individual, man or woman, to sit or stand and try to understand what is really going on, what the person really saying. If you use wisdom in this situation and you respond correctly, it can be a teachable moment for the individual where they would realize they just an empty vessel making a lot of noise and they need to hear something to help them realize they need to change something about
Yeah.
themselves. You understand?
Yeah.
So a little compassion, or as it would say, be quick to listen, slow to speak and slow to wrath. Don't just respond with what comes at you. We have been taught to do those things. I had to retrain myself. And sometimes I have to remind myself, shut your mouth and listen to what the woman is saying to you, brother. Calm down, don't be quick to listen to respond. Take a time and process. You understand? Examine what's going on in your mind, in your heart. Ask yourself what is going on. How will what I say cause the other person to respond? So you're examining your thoughts to make sure you're not responding the way the devil wants you to respond. Keep in mind, if you're married and that's the situation, you want your marriage to win. You ain't trying to win here and your spouse losing, because if that's the case, we know both of us are losing. So in your response, it should be, if you want to ask a question, and it's wise to ask right questions in these times. Like the woman is already hype, so you have to know what kind of question to ask.
Yeah.
A nice question to ask is, we weigh how you're behaving, how would that help us? And you use us purposely and genuinely, not just because Sabi say it or you hate it or you read it somewhere. You use it genuinely because you want that individual to know that you're interested in working out your relationship, and you have, yes, there's a contention, but you don't want to get caught up in that place. You want us to sort it out and move forward in a most proper manner so that we could have peace in our relationship. And if it's beyond us, sometimes it's good to say, right now you're rubbing me the wrong way. I hearing you, but I need to process and I'll come back to you at some later time. Please, just allow me to do so because I want us to work it out. You,
Sabi, I'm itching. I'm
Um,
itching to say that one of the things we don't do well is
mhm,
to find out from each other how the other person feel about certain things,
right,
right? So this is my way of expressing myself and so on.
right,
It's important for me to know how
feel,
my wife feel about the
mhm,
way I choose to express myself,
mhm,
and I don't have to wait for her to ask to tell me about it. I should be proactive enough. If I'm so, and some people they're so big on expressing themselves, I should be proactive enough to ask her, how do you feel about this,
yeah,
what was last said or
mhm,
something. And you
mhm,
mentioned something earlier on, which is very important. The operative word show. You talk about show empathy and so on. And those are forms of expressions that requires you to do something intentionally.
mhm,
And having examined ourselves, right, based on how others, your partner feel about something, you have to take accountability for your action and recognize that Roger,
mhm,
right, my wife, has to do something intentionally about me, Roger, right, about me, my wife, that would redound to the betterment of the unity,
mhm.
the two of us, right? So that's important, I think.
Yeah, but
All
you
right.
see,
what one?
that analysis is good, but that analysis comes after all the arguments, you know. Really,
True,
he said
true.
that. Because you cannot possess love and power at the same time, you know.
Same
Same
time.
time. That's correct.
If you hold on to love and you only let go love to grab power, you notice that you can't grab both of them at the
Both
same
of them
time.
at the same time.
Yeah.
You got to
Mm.
choose one.
Well, is
And
that training? Eh?
most times as men,
Yeah.
we want to
It's just
grab the power.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then by the time you get to the bedroom, you try to grab the love
It
sick
can
again.
work.
Hey, hey.
Tonight.
No way, sir.
No.
See,
One of the things I just want to talk about is the whole issue of communication. Um, uh, to resolve issues, we must learn to communicate, and we talk. Sabi talk a little bit about it. But when we having those heated discussions, uh, when we listen, we must listen to understand, and that's where the whole issue of empathy comes in.
yeah.
Listen to understand, not necessarily to respond. A lot of times we just listening for that point to respond because that point what was raised rubbed us the wrong way. Okay,
Mm.
so we have to learn to listen, to understand where the person is coming from, and I just wanted to just make it a little clearer when it comes to the whole issue of empathy.
That's
We
right.
we, we have to listen to hear what the person is saying, and not just the words that they're saying. A lot of time the body language, the emotion, we have to read between the lines and respond. That is why I think the Bible says that we have to deal with our partners according to wisdom.
Hear the
Right?
woman
So,
say.
so
With
all
Yeah.
the
knowledge,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
how we know the person might be, all
Right.
right, and use wisdom in how we try to deal with the issue.
And
so
the woman
Yeah.
also
say.
those famous lines that we use all the time, it's a good time to mention it because it's a real big no-no, and we do it often. Well, I don't know why I should feel that way.
Yeah, but guys, one of the things that came to my mind as well, you all was speaking is the whole issue of after talk about wisdom, but you cannot allow wisdom to prevail if you're not honest.
Well, it's true.
And
That's true.
and
That is
and
true.
and a lot of times, brother, if we really take the time, as you say, to communicate and to listen, communication is all list, and we listen to our own selves, we realize we were real foolish. We were behaving real foolish. Whether it's based on what the situation, both male and female, so them husband and wife realize, boy, well, we know we were behaving real stupid.
One of the things we must try sometimes, and Sabi talk about it again, try to deal with situations that we find very difficult to deal with in peacetime.
Yeah.
All right.
In peacetime.
Choose the time.
I think sometimes as men we try to sometimes become so philosophical in the middle of a little conflict, in the middle of a little dispute. You know, we try to become so philosophical and all of that, that we lose the essence of what we are actually trying to think. So you address it when things are done, when everybody is nice and they feeling good and they enjoying each other's company, etc., etc. And we deal with the situation. We bring it up and we try to deal with it. I know that.
But if it was war in whole year and you get 1 week of peace.
Remember, God is the one. He does send a cold shower rain at times.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, God has a way of coming in their room. Sometimes the argument is so hot.
Yeah.
And he send a cold shower rain.
Yeah. Just calm the thing down.
Yeah. And while no talk is going on, the cold shower rain come, and sometimes you hear the wife might say, if I get a cow now, I make love to that cow.
Hey.
And the husband, what do you think the husband going to respond? The third party. We leave out the third party in the whole thing. He changes times and seasons and temperatures to really match what's going on. God really intervenes.
As you said that there, I remember not too long ago, me and my wife, we were having a conversation about something that she wasn't too happy about. And we went home, I hear out. I mean, there were a bit of misunderstanding, and there are times in conversations where sometimes what you see is not what is, or what you hear is not what is, or sometimes what you hear and what you perceive it is not what it is. And that's why conversation is important, so you can have clarity. You understand? You can settle the score, and if you're wrong, and even if you're right and the woman feels that way, as Candice was saying earlier, and that you need to validate her feeling, let her know it's okay to feel how you feel. You understand? That was not your intention to cause her to feel that way. You understand? It's just how she interprets what you said. If you can vow and you're being truthful and real, then you iron out the thing. And when you don't, you realize you end up laughing about the thing.
Yeah, you look real
You understand? So in the end, we end up laughing about the thing, and it's like, oh, I give a kiss, and then we were good because then we took the time to iron it out properly. If not, I would have gone to bed. She would have gone to bed, and we'd be upset. But let me continue. Here's a question we have up there, right? What are some areas you wanted to improve? I mean, that question real hard. What are some areas you wanted to improve? Be blatantly honest, fellas. This is the toughest, simplest question I see show up for the entire conversation. As far as
we can answer that next week. We might have to do some research.
Bro, I taking the easy way out. I learned a long time ago. You can't change no woman.
Bishop is a man of
live with them with wisdom. Live with
Trevor, let me hear from the bishop. He's a man of great wisdom and a man that is well learned. when I meet this difficult conversation, I need to go a little bit, and I call upon Bishop for this one. Bishop, take it a shot. Get a shot. Let me hear what you will say.
Reinforcement.
The jury said to leave that thing alone. Leave that thing alone. Because that's gonna talk. You're gonna talk about cooking. You're gonna have to touch. Dress.
Whoa.
You're gonna talk
Whoa.
about fashion. You're gonna talk about time management. So leave that thing alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
wish
not
I wish I wish a woman could answer that question for me because mm,
Maybe you're happy with you just the way you are.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I agree with that.
don't
because
worry,
see,
don't worry.
when you're chasing a woman, you
Yeah,
have to chase her until death.
yeah.
Those are
Yes.
some statements we
Yes,
have to
sir.
remind the folks who are listening. The chase goes on.
Yeah.
You
And
know
it's
what?
a
The
It,
chase.
hunt goes on.
here's my take on it. Right? We are growing together. We are
Yeah.
improving together. As we grow, I would say what I have to say. I will as it comes, I will tell you. In reality, I can't tell you before I see it. So when I see it, I will tell you. Listen, honestly, you need to work on this area.
Hmm.
That's the best answer I could give. Personally speaking, I don't know the answer for this one. You understand? My friend says here, she says, improve yourself as the authority of the home and you will fall and we will fall into places. Here,
Say
Candice, you're
that time.
switching the question. Relax, don't switch your questions on us, man. You understand what she's doing, Roger? She's switching the question.
Responsibility and us. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. No, I understand what she's saying though. If men get it together, she's saying that automatically, hopefully, women will fall in line. Women will be who they are, who God
I,
created you to be.
I want to respond with a question
Mm,
like that. I
mm.
would throw it back at the woman. What areas
Bro,
do you think you need to improve?
bro.
And if they list it and it's open for discussion, and I am saying that very cautiously and very carefully, right? If they allow for discussion on it,
Uh-huh.
we'll have the discussion, but let them identify it first.
Bro,
I ain't going down that road identifying
I-
nothing.
I
after
tell
close to
Savvy,
30 years.
Savvy, that thing you take it to the Lord in prayer. Don't confuse it. Don't
With fasting too, Bishop. With fasting.
trust on it if
With
you have a
fasting.
never
Sackcloth and
understand
ashes, bro.
you're in trouble.
After close to 30 years,
Yeah.
Yeah,
brother,
you leave
the
it at
best
alone.
answer I could give, we compliment each other.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. You see, Raja Pandain very much, but
Roger,
Roger,
Roger doing research.
remember,
We
remember Roger.
compliment each other.
Anytime you see Roger putting hand over his mouth,
He
you
doing
know
research.
Roger crossing.
well, ladies, that was a difficult question, I would say. All right, but let's take the next one. Um, Let me just adjust something here. All right, great. This one coming up. All right, so this question here now. I'm in a relationship where my BF or she boyfriend depends on other people knowledge and experience to practice it in his relationship, in which I spoke to him about. It is not working. Bringing his own ideas. She says she need help, please. So this man seems to be gathering information amongst his friends, and he's coming along with these ideas and he wants to put them to work in his own relationship. So uh, I guess we could leave that one open for all of us to chat on it a little bit.
There's a high chance that in his formative years, he may have missed out on quite a lot of things. I remember at one point in time in my formative years when I looked up at a cousin of mine's was very good with the ladies and tried to model things that he was doing,
Yeah.
right? In reflection, um, quite obviously We were two different people pursuing two different things, and clearly the clothes he was wearing were not quite fitting me. But I did not have a father figure in my life. The one that would grow up a boy into man. So I looked for it. I looked for different elements of it in different people. Even at the GBSS, you had some boys who had fathers, and after lunch, just before the bell ring for class resumption, we sit in and we talking, and then I learn a few things from them too as well. And I think, okay, this probably could work. And I created, my own little model that appeared to be working, but at some point in time, it did crash. And I could tell you that who I am today in terms of my growth, right? Not my failures, but in terms of my growth, my wife played a big role in that. She came from a home with both mother and father. So she really helped, supported me in how I was able to converse with my son on things and how I was handle certain situation as a man at the home and so on. Forever grateful. But you know, I could tell you when you don't have those discussions and those learnings in your formative years, it redounds to what you're seeing here in that question.
All right. But I would say that woman, I would say to this woman, she's in a good place. And the reason why I say she's in a good place, she's still in the valley of decision. It's only her boyfriend. You understand? So she have a choice. If she decide she don't want that boyfriend no more, you could break it off, my friend. And you know what you're looking for. You understand? Go and pray and ask God to help you to find that, or let that man you're looking for find you rather. Because I don't believe in um, woman finding man. I believe in the opposite. I believe the opposite, that man should find woman. You understand? Man should pursue woman and not woman pursuing man. You understand what I'm saying?
It
So
goes both ways, Sam.
hmm,
It's quite all right. It goes both ways.
it goes both way.
Yeah,
Bishop, as I
no,
said, that's my belief. That's my belief. No woman had to find me. I felt I had to find my wife. Yeah, I had to see. You know what I mean? Yeah.
the discovery is not sometimes in the pursuit. The discovery, and that's what we're doing all night here, unpacking discoveries. Because it's like natural resources. It had to be. You have to dig into it. You have to bring it to the place where it has to be molded. It has to be put through the fire. So relationship is like natural resources, like finding gold. But that
I think Bishop get the internet a drop off the boy.
Yeah.
Well,
He got a pop on that. But Trevor, hold on. What's the wait on Bishop to
I
come
think
back?
Bishop is correct. Bishop is absolutely correct. Bro, what I see in this question here is that this lady, this individual is at the point where she's feeling used,
Mm,
you know, and no woman is when cricketers they go in the net and practice their shots and thing and they practice their bowling, that you don't see yourself in that place. You're not no place for somebody to come and practice on, and that's what she's saying here. She feels like the man is practicing on her. You
mm.
know what I mean? And I you know I have brother, I have daughters, and I wouldn't like no guy come and practice
Practice.
in here if friend and
Yeah.
them see on my daughter. I run you out from my yard.
what a way to put it.
The four bit man. You go for the four bit.
you know, so I'm not to be himself.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to
for
be
real.
me.
But
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 there is, she wants
that's
authenticity,
yeah.
the real you.
But
Drop the mask, drop the facade, drop all these foolish thoughts in your mind and be yourself, man. This is who I am. Is either you love me like this or that. That's it.
Yeah.
Um,
The ladies utter. The ladies are saying that they feel like we're running from the question, the previous question. You understand? Let's take a pin. They say the show's advisors, women ask question. Therefore, all questions will be answered. All
what?
right. And and
All
also,
right, all
I
right,
think
bring it back. I'll answer it.
I think the men just excuse themselves from the question of what they want in a woman, what they want a woman to change. You
I want
understand?
to make a
Mrs.
comment
Duncan,
on that.
Mrs. Duncan is on.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to make
yeah.
I really want to make a comment on that. Now, a lot of times,
Which one, Otta? Which one?
no, well, the same question on some of the comments. I just want to comment
The previous question or
yeah,
the
the previous question.
You want to answer Mrs. Duncan,
No,
Otter?
no. All I'm saying is
uh-huh.
that women have experienced answering questions put to us by our wives similar to that question.
Yes.
And a lot of times we end up in hot water.
Yeah.
If I'm not speaking the truth, say I'm not speaking the truth.
So you think, so you
True.
think,
Right?
Is,
So
is Otter that talking, eh?
yeah. I'll just speak for yourself. Roger, read my mind. I answer the question.
I just want permit me to continue. But that come under the bus long time. So we have to treat this with a great deal of caution. We must treat it with a great deal because we love our wives. I
Yeah.
mean, my God, we love our wives. Okay? And there might be things that we may see that can be improved. Okay? But we have to approach it gingerly. Because we love you all so much, we must approach it gingerly. And a lot of times if we approach it in a direct way, we get a direct onslaught of some comments and things that we don't necessarily want to get.
Bro,
Okay.
So Otta's excuse, Trevor, is that we had to practice wisdom whilst we are on this live stream.
Thank you.
Tabi, none of us, no man going on any live thing and tell you wife, you have to go in the gym, you have to go on this. You're crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is, Trevor, our wives are there looking on. Roger, you see what happened? My wife there, she coming and she laughing. You get a picture? I had to go home tonight. When I reach home, remember, I did not leave with the key for the house. You understand? I did not leave with the key for the house. I have the key for the car. And Roger, I'm not sleeping in the
I go answer that question. I go
You
answer that
inside.
question when I lock
all of
my
all
room door.
inside. All of all inside. But here's another question, eh? So, and it's in line with the last question. So the woman is asking, why do men despise learning from other men? So on the flip side now, one is saying, well, you're learning from men and you want to practice, but why then where is the balance? I think for me, I would say some men are just insecure and they don't think much of themselves. You understand? So they don't think it's wise, or they don't want to make themselves look small to sit down on. And the next part about this is that I could be 20 years, you could be 40 years, and I could be teaching you stuff. But because you figure you're older than me, but then you're longer than me, you refuse to listen to me. You understand? The good word tells us, for the younger men, don't let no man despise your youth. You understand? And you have to be an example. Age has nothing to do with it. Sometimes age could be the issue there. You understand? And it happens in the body of believers. From the head come right down to the body. You check what I'm saying. Right? But maybe that could be the reason that the older man figure he should be the teacher automatically. If you look at it from that angle. And I know you guys could say a lot more on that. So I'll leave it there.
I just want to say that I don't think men despise learning from other men, but men like to know that they could figure things out for themselves.
Okay.
Right? It is something that is innately built in the man. All right. Now, let's take for example, you come home with a piece of furniture that you could put together. That man ain't going and he didn't want to read the directions that they give you. Okay, he figure he could handle it. Tell me if I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. Figure I could handle it. So he would pick up the tools and thing, and he is ready to fix the thing. Okay. In relationships, men like to know that they could deal because it's their relationship, and a lot of times, men seldom would seek help, even if the relationship is creating some problems from other men. All right, it's as if water becomes more than flour. If you understand what I'm saying, that they would actually go to another man and say, "Look, I'm going through this issue, and I need your input on it. I just need to hear from you exactly, how I should approach it." So it's not. I wouldn't say it is something about despising learning from other men, but we are built in a way that says, look, this is my responsibility. I must figure it out the best way I could. That may not necessarily be the right approach. Okay? The Bible talks about iron sharpening iron. We should be able to confess our issues to each other. All right, somebody that you could trust, somebody that you know is a brother that would be able to give you some solid advice, guided by your spiritual conviction, guided by your salvation, guided by the Holy Spirit, to assist you. Both of you working it out, because one may have more experience than the other. And again, experience has something to do with age. Everybody have experience. For however long or however short you are on the face of the earth, you have experience. Sorry. So
that is a double-edged sword. That question, it could cut you both ways, because men naturally, to learn from another man, you have to be walking with them. And in the past, where you had apprenticeship and those kinds of things, you had more of that in the body of Christ, amongst men. So you want to learn carpentry, you go to an apprentice shop, you learn the trade, etc. And men would hand down knowledge. But what we see has evolved is that men these days, young men these days, hardly want to take advice and counsel from mature men, and because men by nature are not gossipers. Men don't like to gossip, and men see relationships, their marriage, etc., as sacred grounds, right? So I think men always would struggle with that. We see that in the Bible. We see that with Miriam and Aaron. They're grumbling about Moses' wife. Moses didn't have a problem with his wife, but other people had a problem with his wife. So, and then what I saw growing up was that when you had the village standpipe, the woman would go there, right, and go and collect their water, and they do their washing and thing, and they will gossip, and they will solve problems, how to think your husband, how to good or bad counsel you get there, how to work with your husband, how to think your husband, if your husband doing this, what to do, how to win it, etc. But a lot of times too, because of what happened there, you know what happened? Courthouse, big fight break out among the women by the standpipe, and end up. So there is, I say, it's a double-edged sword, and I think in the era we're living in now, men are very, very conscious of the risk, because that sharing certain confidential things with other men could run them into problems. They have to prove, a man have to prove you over many, I would say many years, that you're confidential, your counsel is good, it is filled with wisdom, it is godly counsel that builds you up, that strengthens you, that establishes you, that leads you from one level of success to another to come to that level. So it's not just because me and you grew up on the blocks together. No. I think men are especially godly men are more wise than that these days, because they've seen the consequences of men, going and have heard. They go and tell their wife. Next thing they're on the street. You understand? And men try to stay away from that. So that's why you would not find it as a common practice as how it is amongst women that
Yeah.
men will
So,
discuss.
so I hope the ladies get that very clear. He's not saying that men don't gossip. It's not a common practice. You understand? Amongst men, you'll find a few men who would actually practice that. The Sister Dottie says men gossip more than women. When men call chatting and discussing, it's gossiping. It's don't can say here going on the brother Trevor. See, men are not gossipers. Trevor, careful what you're saying on this thing, please, brother. You understand? Be very careful. Be very careful.
I don't like the word. I don't like the word gossip. And the moment started take on. I
But
don't like the word gossip.
what happens in the barber shop, Otter?
Yes,
What you call that?
it's what happens in barbershop is
Steve Barbershop?
is a stimulating discussion.
Is that- it is what they got
It's a
that.
macho discussion.
Yes,
It's
it's
a macho
stimulating
discussion.
discussion, right?
Mm.
Right. So we can leave it like that. But
It's interesting that it happens in the barber
In
shop.
the barber shop, I had to train
Be,
myself. I tell you,
well, no, because the stimulation is all about the head, eh?
the head, yeah.
Yeah,
Otta,
that's
yeah.
right.
Trevor,
Now you're talking.
Roger,
Roger, look at you. Look at you. Understand what I'm talking about.
I
Well,
had to train.
I just only took a cut this evening, so I know what I'm talking
Roger,
about. Yes.
Roger, there's a spirit in the barber shop. If you're not very careful with that spirit, you would spill your guts out. So you have to be very wise as a man going to the barber shop. One time I
Well,
realized me and my
I
barber
I
having
just,
too much intimate conversation. This man
mhm.
cutting my hair and we talking about certain things in business. I'm like, why am I telling him I'm a business? I had to tell myself, you're going on, nah. So when you go in that barber shop, you know, you had to learn to keep your mouth shut and don't have certain conversation with the barber because this man cannot know what's going on in your life. He doesn't get it right because he cut in your hair to actually get that information from your head. So I had to talk to myself and say, nah. Cool down,
Yeah.
brother. Cool down.
I
Let me take
just,
a
I
call.
just,
But you know the
I just want to make a
just to,
comment.
sorry, go ahead, Carter.
Just want to make a comment very quickly, and then one of the things we have realized over the years in dealing with men and the issues
Mm,
is that you may find them talking about the work, the vehicle, sports, um, even women,
mm.
but they don't talk about the intimate things that
No.
affect them,
Right. True. True.
That's a
right?
red line for a lot of men. That's
Yeah.
a red line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They ain't crossing the line. And
Right.
and because of that, they sometimes end up in a lot of trouble
True.
within the relationship
Hmm.
when they can get help from other men who
Hmm.
might have the skills to
Hmm.
be able to give them some assistance. I just wanted
That's so
to
true.
bring that
Yeah.
up.
The
The
lady say
it's
sometimes when he hair salon too, eh? She says that thing has gone in the hair salon too. So it's
oh
not
yeah,
just
oh yeah.
sometimes anyway hair is being attended to. You have to be very careful. Right?
Then the issue of men despising to learn from other men,
Mm,
I don't think that's the case because we all have mentors, right? And a lot of them are men, and in
mm,
some way or the other,
Yeah.
we model things from each other. Or there's something that we like about or love about some other person that we want to model after.
right.
And I mean, there's something savvy that that I admire about you, I would not tell you tonight. There's
Mm.
something I admire about Brother Trevor, I would not tell him tonight. There's something I admire about Otto, I would not tell him tonight,
Right.
right? Because it has not gone through the rigor of all the tests yet. So,
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
but I look at it and I say, this is something that I think, I could model after. I like
Yeah.
that. You
Right.
know.
Vice versa. Yeah. Trevor, what's the opinion, man? You had to continue. You had to answer all these questions tonight because, next week we're going on. But
I disagree also.
we
You have
almost,
two or three more questions, man.
we,
Not long.
we almost through. We're almost through. All right. We're almost through. So this is the next question here. Why do some men think it's okay to go to work and come home and do nothing but put a foot up in it? I mean, that's a
Because I'm
genuine
tired.
question. What they do? They tired?
I'm tired.
That man is not that, that man is not me. That's not
Hmm.
me. Right? I will
You,
just
you
leave
see
that
that? You see this question here?
there.
Earlier on, you mentioned Sabi about showing empathy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to show
and
empathy.
no, I think you see, God asked us as husband to love our wives, right?
Mm-hmm,
I didn't think He set any conditions on the which that must be done, and that okay, when you're tired, you could take a risk of not loving her,
Yeah.
right.
or such, and it requires you to do some things that is showingly about it. So look, my wife stands on her feet a
Hmm.
lot whole day. So I understand how she would feel in the afternoon if she sits down, right? I know the importance of at best trying to get that feet rejuvenated for the next day. So what do
Hmm.
I do about it? Even if I'm tired. If I love my wife, I know that I have to do something about it. Even if it means taking up some chores that she would normally do, or even attending to the foot itself, even if I'm not a physiotherapist, I try nothing.
Well, the question I have on that is, what is nothing?
Trevor, 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 you want explanation tonight?
Yeah,
Nothing is nothing,
because
brother. Nothing is
because
nothing. The man ain't doing nothing. You
no, but
understand?
maybe, but you see, what one person calls nothing, it could be very very important for another person, because
You have a
I may
point.
not I may not come home and help
Cook.
cook or whatever, but I may having a conversation with you while you're doing it.
Hmm.
You understand? And that in itself is reaffirming, thinking you. I could be standing there with you. Maybe I'm not in the sync with you, etc. But standing there and talking with you, you know, giving a little massage every now and then and those kind of things, and that helps. So I mean, not every day you go do laundry. You understand? Not every day you go wash the dishes and things. So I mean, it's a very ambiguous question.
When I
I
Thompson
see,
walking
I
at
see
some
auto
thin
graded.
ice,
I see auto graded.
Thompson walking at some thin ice. Don't worry, I'm gonna send out a ladder for you.
Brother, nothing is nothing. You understand? The man
I,
I
I,
honestly, the man you're tired. You want a reason? The man probably tired. You want the next reason? The man probably lazy. You want another reason? You want- Listen, that man is not
but
us. That man is not us. You understand? That man is not here tonight. And we're not just saying it here. Or wives are there and they could, I love the fact that Brother Duncan, why he says that man is not Mr. Duncan. Big up your chest, brother. You understand? Big
Good,
up your chest. You see? Yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You understand? But nothing is nothing. And some mental easy. They need to start doing something, understand the
Thank you,
purpose,
babe.
man.
Thank
Come
you.
on, man. You know what I mean?
But
Yeah.
to be honest, there are days that you come home and you just don't want to do anything. You don't
Well, yeah,
want to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have the intention not
That's
to,
understandable.
Yeah, you're
right?
mentally, you're
Not
mentally
you have the
drained or something. Yeah.
intention, but that intention sometimes is very short-lived. just
Mm.
as an intention. Because when you
But
see
then,
things,
but you have to say it. You just don't come home and don't do nothing.
Don't do
that's
nothing
right.
yet.
That's right.
None.
You see, and Tammy is saying something really important that he was spoiled as a child and not got responsibility. And a lot of
True.
times you have men know that's the reason why some of them they just they mommy's boy, and every time they came home from school or something, they didn't have to clean their room. They don't understand nothing like that. Everything is done, so they grow
But
up.
Sabi, could I
Grow
flip that
up.
script?
Mm,
Because I wonder. Sometimes ladies could bring that problem onto themselves too.
yeah, too. They start doing everything for themselves. They don't want the man help, so you get used to that. Hmm.
But it goes both ways, huh? There are
That's
some
it.
men that come
Yeah.
home and they want to do everything too.
Yeah.
Right?
Some
So
people
so
don't. Some
there
people don't
must
have a
be
problem.
a
Some people don't have
balance.
a. Some people don't have a problem with it in order,
Yeah,
but
but
some
no,
do. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
They must have a balance. There
They
must be a
must have
balance.
balance. It's
I agree.
There
important.
must be a balance.
Let's take the next question here. I think we did justice to that one. Let's take this one here. All right. So this woman is asking. She's asking. Where is it? Yeah. So, how do I get my husband to genuinely honor me without any prompting? That's a question. She want to be genuinely, honored. She want to be honored
So,
without saying.
I'll answer this simply.
Mhm.
My grandmother always told me that whenever you see persons, when you're passing them, say good morning, say good afternoon,
Mhm.
right? Have no expectation to receive, to get back a good morning or good afternoon,
Right.
because you're not telling them to get it back,
Right.
right? You are genuinely wishing them to have a good morning
Mhm.
or good afternoon. It took me a lot of years to get it, but I get it now, right? So even if when people don't respond, right? So how do I get my husband to genuinely honor me without any prompting? You do what you have to do, and hopefully he would do the same. If he doesn't, then should you stop? Vice versa. If he's honoring you and you doesn't, should he stop?
Mhm. I think I don't want nobody to add anything to that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The answer is a perfect answer, Raja.
Perfect, perfect.
You understand? Yeah. A serious. Well, let's take this next one here. Coming on, we're almost there. All right. How do you deal with a husband who always put his family and business before you? How do you
Oh.
handle when you ask him for things he says he doesn't have?
Hmm.
So, well, that man is a loose screw man. That man is a loose screw man.
The,
Did you put man on the head?
Something wrong with that man, Jane.
the,
He's
the, thing, the thing about that too is God blesses you based on how you bless your wife.
Yeah.
Mhm,
There's
Yeah.
a scripture in
Yeah.
the Bible that talks about that.
Yeah.
mhm,
So you cannot put anything, business and all that, before your wife,
mhm.
right?
Right.
Family second,
Mhm. Business
okay,
after.
and business and all of that comes after.
Mhm,
And if the man does not understand that, you realize that you begin to lose your family, not just your wife.
mhm,
You lose your children.
mhm.
Because the truth is that your children are looking at the way that you treat your wife.
Talk that talk.
You understand me? You're
Mhm,
looking at the way that you treat your wife. And if you don't have time for them because your business is more important than anything else, you would realize that they will get the attention that they're seeking from somewhere else. Right? And too often we lose our children and we don't understand why but it's simply because we are not giving them the attention. Whatever you don't give attention, you're gonna lose.
So Arthur, could you answer the question then? I've deliberately asked it that way because I have a feeling the person want to know about that. So
Mhm.
how do you deal with the husband now?
Hmm.
Who does that?
It will take some mature discussion, some honest discussion, and the husband shown the reality of what can happen if every time you ask for some things I don't have. If every
No,
time you ask for attention, oh, I am too busy, I have this to do, I have that to do, the business would need me, and all of that.
Hmm. And then the next thing is how do you
Go on.
handle? How do
Right.
you handle
Hello?
when? Yeah. How do you
what?
handle? How do you
Hello?
handle?
Right.
Yeah.
But it has, and there might be some need for some outside help
Mm-hmm.
to navigate around this, because the truth is that sometimes you can get caught up with your business to such an extent where you figure you have to give it all of your attention, especially if it's something new coming up and all that, and there is potential and all of that, but you have to involve your family. You must
But
involve your family in some of these things, and you have to understand that before the business was, your family was.
Arthur,
Not all the times the author.
the
Sometimes the
Well,
business
question,
goes before the family. Yeah. But go ahead.
but okay, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you had a business that you were grooming coming up, and you entered into a family, you have to understand that that family needs more of your
Of
attention
your
than
intent.
your business, because
If
the
you
truth
fall
is,
sick,
I always tell my wife,
you can run to
um,
business.
if today or tomorrow I am sent home, is my family are coming too.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's it.
understand? That is my foundation, really and truly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the people that's the people who will have my back. Okay, so
Gracefully broken.
you really and truly would have to spend some time and prioritize people's life and the
but
family that you have.
You
that
know, there's
that
a strong. Sorry, brother Trevor. Go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead,
No,
Arthur.
there's a strong chance. I don't know. In this situation, what might be the case, but I know some family that have, call it a dynasty. Um, so it's a family business, and a lot of things, decisions, and so on is around, or naturally, okay, the family. So the line between the business and the spouses that are within the family that came into the business is oftentimes blurred. So I'm not sure if it's something like that. And then you have sometimes someone now trying to place themselves where they really, I don't want to say they don't belong. They don't belong legally, right?
You're not
But
fitting snugly.
they're not fitting, and their measure of fitting is really oftentimes just wanting the husband to give them an ear, to just listen, and so they have the input, and at least he could table some of the inputs. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's a case like
I
that, but you
understand.
have those situations too.
Yeah. I
No,
understand exactly where you're coming from.
you see that question, brother, guys. That question is that question we see it, we see it happening, and we hear of it happening in our communities, and a lot of times there's a spiritual side to this thing. There is how, because how could you tell your wife you don't have, if the two is one, what you deny your wife, you're denying yourself, you know, and your children. So, and but we hear about it about husbands who they married, and the mother controlling. You understand? or women who marry and their mother controlling them. So that's abnormal. It's not natural. It speaks of something that it has a deep. This is a deep spiritual connection there that is not of God. No, the Bible says if a man does not provide for his family, he wasn't an infidel.
Worse than an infidel, afraid that word.
Worse. So that man, the word of we have is the word now to address this matter. The word of
What's that infidel mean? He doesn't believe in God.
So the word.
But it means that you are the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand me? There is no integrity in you, you know.
You get a stroke today or tomorrow, who have to wipe your backside?
Understand?
You understand? This is not a joke, it's a serious matter. And men have to come to their senses and realize, hey, wake up, man. You have to wake up and check yourself and say, hey, today or tomorrow, when my mother and father forsake me, my wife will take me up. You understand? And care for me.
So again,
I would advise that the wife do a serious spiritual examination and do a family back, because it may be something that has been coming down through the family for generations.
You're talking.
And that has to be broken. And you're right, Arthur, and think fast and pray.
Yeah, but there is something that Roger touched there, and trust me, I did not consider it like that, but it is something that has happened and I've seen happen. You see, when let's say the man has a family business, or his family have business, and he married somebody else. I'm telling you, man, sometimes that business and that family form such a close-knit thing that they don't allow anybody else from the outside, whether his wife or not. Nobody else from the outside can penetrate that kind of relationship there. But the Bible basically tells us that, you know, when you find a wife, you need to leave.
And cleave, yeah.
Leave. So there must be a demarcation between business and family. Right now, the thing is that if that man family has such a hold on him in terms of him giving the attention or demanding of him that he must pay attention to the business, that's a serious situation. And I think I didn't get that clear until Roger spoke about it, because he is in a deadlock situation where the demands that his family is placing on him to pay attention to the business, contradicting the demands of what he needs to do to maintain his family. That's some serious conflict there.
So as
he might need assistance, not just from within, but from outside to be able to deal with that.
Right. So let me just add my 2 cents and we'll move to the last question. Finally, we get through all of them. My thing is, I want to go back as to what Roger was saying. The woman is asking how should you, meaning how she should deal with a situation or deal with the husband. The first thing I want to say to this woman, how to deal and how to handle this situation. Do not confide in another man about your situation. Don't find another man to have that conversation with. Be very wise who you choose to have a conversation with. You understand? Seek some kind of pray and fast, of course. Be patient, because in this situation it seems as it's an ongoing thing and you need God to break something. But you will have to have some patience in your life, and also remember, God is your father and he will never leave you nor forsake you. He's there. You have to grow, you know, because remember, you're asking him for things and he's saying he doesn't have. God expects him to be provider in the home. And if he's not providing for you, I mean, If you
Step in.
can't provide for yourself, then you have no choice than to depend on God to provide for you. Worst part is if this man come in and want to eat the same food you prepare and he ain't giving no, no money. You understand? And there are men like that. So you really need to have a strong faith in God to keep you, because if not, you would easily just say, you want to do it, I will find a man to handle it for me. You understand? And then you will have more problems. So if you want to honor, if it's a case where you're married, you have family, and you want to be a good example, if you have daughters, so much is on you and it's a heavy load to carry. So that's why you need to be close to God every single day and keep putting that matter before the throne. Keep seeking God for wisdom and trust Him to provide for you, and be patient and just
Break it.
allow Him. Otherwise, you would not be able to
You
deal.
can't break that stronghold. That stronghold. It has to be broken.
Yeah, unless you won't be able to handle it, or you won't be able to deal with it. You'll be
Okay.
frustrated all the time. You know?
I have to leave now, so I just want to leave one other thing.
Yeah.
Look at the Proverbs 31 woman, the virtuous woman. There are times when you will have to use your wits to become industrious yourself,
That's right.
right? To be able to provide for you and your family. And even that brings up another conflict, because if you begin to prosper in that, a lot of times God bless women when they operate like that, and if they begin to prosper in that, the man becomes jealous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have to leave. I must go and pick up my son.
All right.
Um,
Do we have to thanks for being a part of this discussion. I
yes,
really need us to get over it tonight. You understand? And we have a last question there, but don't be tempted, right? Don't be tempted, brother. Go and pick a question. Don't be tempted.
I find I like it, but I
No,
had to go.
no,
My
no,
wife
don't
don't
be
follow me
tempted.
around.
You really still in a
Oh,
Raja.
have a blessed night.
Yeah, yeah. Bishop Bachigo on dead on his device. He say he got popped out.
All
But,
right, order.
all right. So, Otta, blessings, man.
Lessons.
Yeah. So the final question. Wow, that was some question. Would it be? Would it be? No, let me switch your view there. All right. Oh, you will stick with this one. Yeah. Would it be asking too much if you were honest and open to a lady and commit 100% to only that one perfect person, imperfect person rather, as a best friend, soulmate, most attractive, with all her flaws, always defending her and ensuring that no one mocks or ridicules her. Would you be asking too much? Your man is asking that just to commit to that one woman, and I love that last question. It's a nice question to end the program with, right, Roger?
No, it's not asking too
You're
much
asking
at
too
all.
much.
Um, but I'll tell you, it will be asking a lot
Mm-hmm.
if God is not present.
That's right.
Um, and we spoke about that last week, right? I think the question last week was, how do I get my man, if I could recall, of having his eyes for me only, something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah, yeah.
right? And we spoke about the vials of the earth and how things are just being pelted at you every single day, whether it's on the radio, TV, at your workplace, you're walking the road, everything,
Yeah.
right? And then women have their own objectives and can be very cunning and who don't like your relationship and is out to destroy it. And
Mhm.
so, without God in your life personally and in his life personally, and at the center of the marriage, at the relationship, this would be almost impossible,
Mhm.
or if not impossible,
Mhm.
to happen. That's how I would answer that.
Yeah. For me, I think some of the things are very practical. I think what grabbed my attention in this most importantly is defending her and ensuring that no one mocks or ridicule her. And I think it's a culture where sometimes among families you would find, we're comfortable with each other. And maybe we had this thing in culture growing up amongst like a family culture where we would, make fun of certain things. I'm not saying that there isn't place for jokes and so forth, but there are some jokes that I don't feel like I should be laughing at where my wife is concerned. And I should stand up and say, "No, you can't say that. I don't care if it's a joke. This is my wife you're talking about. You're talking about me also." So, I have to put things in check and let you know, hey, you're not allowed. I don't care who you are. You could be my wife, mother, she father. I would tell you respectfully, you cannot make that joke about my wife, especially if she's uncomfortable about it. You understand? And likewise, I would expect the same from my wife. And I think when people have an intimate, when you have a husband and a wife, they have a what you call a really intimate relationship. A lot of the other things will follow because you're into that person. You understand? Yeah, man, you understand? You're into that person you're seeing. So you care and you're concerned a lot about that individual. And it's more than just an external attraction you're talking and dealing with here. You're more attractive to what's inside, the nature of the individual's soul. And you see them as soulmate. It's not just if they face look at how that concerns you, your heart feel away, you're trying to figure out what's wrong. You want to you know, people talk about love and thing, but I don't know if everybody understand what love really is.
Yeah.
Love is not just, you know, oh I love you, what do you say?
Infatuation.
Yeah, it goes deeper than that. And that person is basically asking for someone to
Yeah.
just love them.
But
Just as
there's a
mm-hmm,
Sabi, there's a reason why I opened the way I opened, because I
mm-hmm,
tell you why. From my own experience,
mm-hmm,
I've had to come to accept
mm-hmm,
and recognize and submit myself 100%
right.
to this woman,
Mm-hmm,
Lydia Andrew,
mm-hmm,
was given to me by God.
right.
He said, "This is your wife." And for the love of Him, I know that I cannot do nothing less
Mm.
Right.
than to always be self immersed into her,
Mm-hmm,
always being after her needs, looking after her needs, always giving her attention, always going and looking beyond the flaws,
mm-hmm.
because it will come. We are going to age,
That's right.
right? It requires that of me, right?
Mm.
Even in the roughest and toughest and
Toughest.
bad times,
Yeah,
inside, in the middle of the argument, everything,
yeah.
right? And that's my departure. If I don't have that departure, right, then there will always be somebody else better.
Mm-hmm. And you can't be comparing your wife
Exactly.
with somebody else.
Mm.
It's something that I think if you if you don't understand why you're married, you don't have the right kind of information, you don't understand the biblical type of marriage. Most times when you see men going on that path is because they lack understanding as to what the roles are, what husband mean. You understand? You could have an idea of it, and it's a wrong idea. You could take the idea from some person somewhere and thinking you have it right, but it's still wrong. You understand?
Taken off of social media, it is supposed to be, going to the all-inclusive fets, or we showing off with the best outfits, or
Right.
driving in the best vehicle.
Yeah.
Those are all good ideas people get attracted to, and
Yeah.
oh, this, so when it no longer can happen, that's the end of it.
And to top this off, I would ask you, wouldn't you like or would you love to be the other person, be that person that person is talking about? So would you
Receiving it.
like to be receiving that? And sometimes, as I said, when we talking about love, is an action word. So all these things mentioned there, you also in that position because you're not perfect. So you want someone to love you that same way and accept you for who you are and to look out for you and to cover you Sometimes when a woman is looking for a man, he take it as a threat. He don't say I appreciate that. He sees like, what, you trying to rule me or something? Or when
Yeah.
a woman, the eyes of a woman, you have to learn that. And I'm a young fella, so I'll let you guys talk about that. But I
Yeah.
think I'm learning.
And if
Trevor,
if she stop talk or she's not talking, then you're not in a good place.
well, when she's talking, that means she's interested. But if you shut down and you just, you understand? Yeah, you're right, Raja. Go ahead, Trevor. Go ahead.
Well, I would say that it's a very interesting question, eh? And one of the things I've learned is if somebody will say anything disparaging or I think about your other half, that means they have the same thoughts about you,
It's true.
even though they're grinning and smiling with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So never take what somebody's saying about your other half as just about them.
Mm.
It means that they have the same opinion also about you. And that means therefore you have to reevaluate, you know, how you interact with them. I still believe what the word of God says, you know, that you know, modesty, a woman of quiet spirit, etc. These are the things that's what God looks after. As you say, He looks after the heart. So and of course, you know, we could play, we could allow what people say to really play on our mind, eh? And that's one of the strategies of the enemy.
Mhm.
You know, to want to grind you down and to, you understand, make you begin to doubt, walk in doubt, and etc. So reaffirm you and your spouse, your thing in the word. Pray, pray the positive into being in your life.
Right.
You know, take the scripture that seeks to confirm what you desire and pray it over your life. It
Mm-hmm.
will literally it will literally begin to take shape in your life.
That's right.
So I mean, I see vision here, you know, um, possibilities, and don't allow the negatives to destroy the positive things that you are forming. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, don't
Yeah.
allow
But
the
it but it's certainly not asking too much at all
Nah.
at
to
all,
have
at all.
someone
Yeah,
100% committed.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the whole idea about marriage and relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage relationship is 100% all in, 199% day. When you have this partiality or you halfway there, you ensure you can have that with God and you shouldn't have it with another individual. Some things are learned over a period of time because if you check it, we are not perfect, but as we grow in marriage, we get to understand certain things. And some we learn the hard way, some we are taught. We make adjustments as we go by, and that's why at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, each person should not, if you don't get that no, it shouldn't mean that you should close that door and say, well, I'm not getting it there, I'm going to look for it somewhere else. You're going to start the process all over again. It could be worse, better in some areas, but because there's no perfect human being. So you take your time and you grow together. It's a beautiful thing when you can grow old with somebody, not just in age, but in wisdom, in understanding, reasoning, and compassion, empathy. You understand? I say to my wife, God forbid you die tomorrow. I gonna have a hard time going to remarry because after 15 years, I, Roger, man, come on, man, all this vested, all these things you're being through. You think you want to go and just, man, listen, listen, I go there, man. I go and do the work of the Lord, enjoy my life. You understand? Because I I can't go through that again with another human being. You know how beautiful it is when you could you come from probably hiding your flaws because you were scared, but you're married, but then you
Mhm.
open up and realize you're not judged. Your love for who you are. Go through all of that. Then you have to go and try to discover that in another human being again. That's another lifetime. I don't have patience and time for that, brother. You understand? I go read my Bible every day and advise people what to do, and I will share the word of God. I good. Grow my children. and I would travel, go where the Lord send me like a eunuch. Some are called to be that, some are made that. I go enjoy my life. I good so. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. Eh?
But I always say, and this question come up for this comment again,
Yeah,
that you have to be intentionally doing something,
yeah,
right? To make sure that you you stay committed 100%.
that's
So
right.
take the week for example. So what did you guys do on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
right? What you do on Monday, Tuesday,
Mm,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Um, you know, where is God's purpose in what you do?
that's right.
How are you speaking and communing with Him
Mm-hmm.
during the week? And those things of family matters now. How are you scheduling that? I mean, how are you attending to the needs of the family and your spouse?
That's right.
It those it requires you to do intentional things, to
Mm-hmm.
stay committed, not just
Yes, I'm committed.
we are married, so we're
Yeah,
supposed to be
we
committed.
committed. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't stop there at all.
No.
yeah.
Fellas, let me say thank you. And that was a very fruitful two programs. Um, I don't know, maybe next week we'll try to get some questions from the men. Uh, Roger, what say you? Probably see
and
if we can get
and
some.
and bring on the wives to
I'll
answer.
bring on some, yeah, bring on the women to answer the question from the men. You understand? But nonetheless, I also want to invite persons who are looking and listening. We have this event coming up here. Let's get active men. All right. So walking with hope. We did our hope walk last year. We had it. And this year we want to have it again. So this year will be on Saturday, the 25th of May this month, 4 p.m. We're walking from Old Trafford, Tantin, playing field onto Monrouge, playing field in Grand Anse. All right. So the everything will be
Get
geared
t-shirts on
towards
sale.
men. Now we're not doing t-shirts this year. All right. We want men to come out with their family. So it's just come. We don't want to have hindrance. We want to make it free because we know Roger, you know how we go with men already. You
Yeah.
know, you know how we go with men already. So um, let's take this opportunity,
Yeah,
man,
we
and
we don't have.
I'll be talking like this man that you man talking about, you know, you know, do they have at all? You know what I mean? So we want to invite everybody, but the information that will be shared will be geared towards men and just let the men know that they can get active, be active, not just in your health only, but in your relationship, your marriage, your personal life, your personal growth as a man. You know what I mean? So we want men to come out and be a part of it. So women are, also invited, the entire family, but we want to see more male faces. Most times when you do these walks and so forth, you see a lot of women and children with few men around. So again, we want to encourage a man to invite a man. Pay attention to the date. Roger, I'll send the flyer for you so you could share it with the men in your circle. And we're gonna
Right.
walk and just men vibes. And hopefully, as we say in June month, latter part of June, we'll have another session with men. Let's talk. So I know it's gonna be a better session than the last one, Trevor. We're gonna have more men there, and Roger will connect because we'll have to be sharing again with the men. So it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be airy, you know.
Yeah.
So for us, it's now 4 minutes to 11.
Good
We
night,
made,
sir.
we made another night again. Trevor, I need to
Good
go and
night.
rest.
Good night.
We gotta go and do what we gotta do. So, ladies, thank you very much
Until we
again.
see you again.
Roger, I must say thank you to the ladies
Yeah.
because most of the comments came from the ladies again.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? And one of my
We
partner there.
need we we need we need them.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
do it
yeah,
without them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good night to you, Auntie Nordica, Sister Nordica. So we'll catch up and God bless everyone.
God bless. Have a good night, everyone.
All right.
Blessings.
God's bringing Jesus is my best friend. Even in the tempest, I believe it's working for the best. 'Cause he's bringing out the best in my life. I know he's bringing out best in my life. Yeah, God is bringing out best in my life. Jesus is bringing out, God is bringing out the best in my life. Oh, the best, the very best, the very best, the best in my life. Oh, the best, the very best, ooh, the best in my life. When I'm sick, he heals me. From the chains, he sets me free. When I'm lost, he finds me. He's giving me what's best for me. 'Cause he's bringing out the best in my life. Jesus is bringing out the best in my life. When I cry, he comforts me. When I'm down, he lifts me up. When I feel like losing it, I'm reminded of his promises that he's bringing out the best in my life. Lord, you're bringing out the best in my life. God is bringing out the best in my life. Jesus, you're bringing out. God is bringing out the best in my life. Oh, the best, the very best, the very best, the best in my life. Oh, the best, the very best, Lord, you're bringing out my life. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Yeah, the best in my life. I'm so happy you're bringing out. God is bringing out the best in my life. Yeah, yeah. The best, the very best, the very best, the best in my life. Yeah, yeah. Oh, the best, the very best, the best in my life. Jesus, you're bringing out the best in my life.
Hope is rising. Tell everybody, hope is rising. Yo, this is Emerald Henry representing for Hope 103.1 FM.